What's up, Lemonheads? Welcome to another episode of From the Yellow Chair. I am excited to be basically kind of live, I guess, from the Roofing Process Conference here in Marco Island. Your view is us. Our view is actually a beautiful ocean. So I'm excited to be here today with the Trademark Podcast. We are going to be talking about all kinds of cool things that are predictions for 2025 marketing. So I can't wait for you to hear this episode. Let's sip some lemonade. All right. So you two dynamic duo make up the Trademark Podcast.
Yes.
So I start with this every time. Why should anyone care what you have to say? So tell me a little bit about yourself, and what you've been doing, who you are. I nominate Eric to go first.
All right. Hello, listeners. My name is Eric Thomas. I've been on the show before. I just can't remember what episode, but it was a long time ago.
Yes, it was.
Way back in the day. Founder and president of Rival Digital, host of the Trademark Podcast, dad, husband, all the good things. Why they should listen to me? I'm not sure that they should.
Oh, well.
But it would
always
be
right.
really cool. I feel like I have some pretty decent insights to bring to the table. Been doing marketing in the trades now for about 7.5 years, both kind of client side in the franchise world, and then now, with Rival Digital supporting HVAC, plumbing, electrical, garage door companies. I got a book coming out in the new year, which I'm excited about, and which I guess gives you a little credibility for talking. And
Well, we think you're great. You do great things. We share several clients. You do a great job for them. So,
well, thank you.
and then the prettiest one at the table that's at the furthest back part of the table.
Eric,
Go for it.
Who are you?
Sarah.
So I'm Sarah Ghirardo, and I am a marketer in the trades. I have been in the trades for a long time, over 9 years now. Marketing over 20 years. Why you should listen to me? I don't know. I like to talk about marketing. I have a weird passion that annoys people, but it's also what I like to talk about.
Absolutely. We we're talking earlier and we're like, we could have just kept talking.
Right.
Always. So
I forgot we were recording
Yeah.
at one point. I was like, oh wait, this one's still on.
Yes. So some of the things that we were talking about earlier that really resonated with me, and that's why I said, oh, I got to get you guys on this podcast, is I have a lot of listeners that maybe they're not huge companies, like they're smaller companies really trying to get started. And the idea behind all of this AI and automated home and smart AC, all of that life is a little intimidating to them.
Yeah.
And so you guys were bringing up some great thoughts. So I just wanted to kind of start with, and maybe I'll kick this off to Sarah. What are we seeing is being predicted in 2025 as far as marketing, just marketing tactics, strategies, things like that? She had a great Chat GPT prompt earlier.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But I want to kind of get started. Like, where do you think things are going to go in 2025?
You know what? It's going to be the same thing. You're going to need a brand, right? Like, you're going to need a strong
I know
brand.
a girl.
Yeah, I know a couple of people.
Yeah.
You're going to need some sort of website, whether it's AI based or a landing page. Like, get started with something simple.
RivalDigital.com.
Yes.
I also know a guy for that. Yeah.
And you're going to need a CRM or ERP to put your customer information in, right? And if you've already have your customer information, you're going to want to use that to basically, market to them, because those are your cheapest leads. And they have the longest customer lifetime value, right? And so
that good old
LTV, CLTV.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the basics will always be there, but the difference in 2025 is the innovation part, right? AI has been here for a very long time, but now we are pushing forward with it at a very rapid
pace.
It
It feels like it just came out of nowhere, like in your mind, like you've seen AI, but all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I better start evolving. I call it the blockbuster idea. Like, please don't let me be a blockbuster, where like you look up and you're like, I am totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a marketer and you're listening, like you have to evolve with all of these things.
Yeah.
You most definitely. And so the role of marketing is just completely changing. And the role of advertising is changing as well. And so the cool thing about it is it's not scary. It's how innovative you can get with it and how you can do your job faster as a marketer. And
Yep.
how even if you're wearing 20 different hats, like you can produce things faster with automation, and helps you become more efficient, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the goal in
Yeah.
business. Become more automated, which makes me more efficient.
Well, and access to things that you don't always have access to. So, I was thinking about this the other day. My kids, I made a joke and I said, use your card catalog in your head. And my kids were like, what? And I was like, y'all don't know what a card catalog is. I'm sorry, I forget that I am 43 years old. But it goes back to like, look how much, like, so much information is like at your fingertips. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
honestly, like, you want a marketing plan, ask ChatGPT. They'll
Right.
give you one. What most people aren't going to do is go implement it, which you made this statement earlier today. Sarah was like, hey, I will give you the whole plan. Like, Lemon Seed, I'll lay out the whole strategy for you.
Yeah.
Eric might say, this is exactly what I need you to do. And people are going to go, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because only, I forget what number you said, but like a very small percentage of people actually put something into action.
Yes.
So in 2025, if anything, just like do something,
Yeah.
take action.
Yeah.
So where do you think we're going to go on the digital side? Like, that's real scary to people.
Yeah.
I've done all this work building SEO, and now Alexa and everybody's got to know my name as well. Like, how is that going to work?
Yeah, you just go on ChatGPT and just type in home, and then ChatGPT sends latitude and longitude coordinates for your house. I'm just kidding. That's not.
The drone comes down and you're like, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it's like, hello, Eric, son of Philip.
Oh my gosh.
I think on the digital side, it is scary because there is uncertainty. However, the the thing that's constant is that there are human beings that have questions and they need the answer to something. And the goal of search, no matter if it's Google or Bing or Yahoo or ChatGPT or Perplexity or YouTube, the goal of search is to take someone's query and provide it with the answer. And they find that answer by building up a database, an index of information. And when someone searches that query, they go search the index and they return a result, and they hope that that's the most relevant result. So really, I think if your core focus is on running a good operation, doing everything for the customer first, humanizing your brand, and just having the customer in mind in everything you do, from your content marketing to your branding to your customer experience, you don't have to be as scared about AI in the digital world, because it's going to take all of those data points from across the web that says Lemon Seed Marketing, is a company that does branding and strategy for home services businesses. And it's going to tell the person searching it, here's what I found.
Yes.
So I don't think it's as scary as it needs to be. I do think what is more important than, for some contractors, what's more important than worrying about AI is worrying about your call center, worrying about your brand,
Oh, preach.
worrying about your pricing. Like, if your booking rate is lower than 85%, like, and especially if you're in like 70, 65%, and like if it's bad and you're over here like, what does AI mean for my business in 2025? AI means nothing until you get that call center fixed. So I would say, like, blocking and tackling has to come first. Like, the baseline requirements of running a successful business, marketing, finance, sales, operations. Until those are figured out, I wouldn't be worrying too much about AI and your digital advertising.
Well, like, I have contractors that are like, I need to launch e-commerce, and I'm like, you can't even sell when they call you. Like, when they call you to book a call, you're like, oh. I mean, one time I was dealing with a contractor, and this was so sad. He was like, man, I'm just not getting any leads, and I was like, yes, you are. Like, I see the lead, I see the actual phone calls. Well, come to find out, they were only booking like 25% of them, because he was like, and he was very adamant. Well, my team doesn't start, we don't answer the phones till 9 a.m. And I'm like, like, negative. And then we take an hour lunch. So from 11 to 1, we just let it roll to the answering service. And then we close at 4. So I was like, so, sir, you're not wanting to do business. And you're certainly not for the homeowner. Like, I'm not even home between 9 and 4. Like, I have no idea that it ain't working,
Yeah.
And so, but he realized, like, if you just took the existing leads that you were getting and actually booked them, ta-da, more revenue.
Yeah. Well, and I think some ways that folks can use, AI in regards to digital marketing is, I see it all the time where like I'll go on a website for a contractor, then I'll go to Facebook page, I'll go on to maybe their Yelp page, I'll go onto their Google business profile, and every single place has a different message.
Yes.
And it's like, why is that? Well, it's because the flavor of the month when they were setting up their Facebook page was, this was their message.
Their cousin's daughter did the
yes,
Instagram page.
Yes, their cousin's daughter did the Instagram page. The guy in the basement with Cheeto dust on his fingers made their website.
Oh man.
And so there's all these different flavors in their marketing. So something that we've been doing to help folks, just maybe not to get a perfect message, but just to get a consistent message, is have the Otter, the AI note taker, hop onto a Google Meet and just interview the contractor. And the contractor can do this with someone internally. Get on Google Meet, invite Fred from fireflies.ai, let them record it, sit there and just interview him. Like, hey, when did you start your business? What's your name? Where are you located? Why did you start your business? What does your family have to say about this? What, do they support you? What's your goal in 3 years? What's your goal in 5 years? What does your team say when, just interviewing them on basic stuff? Take the transcription, throw it into ChatGPT and say, now summarize this and provide me with top line messaging for my brand. And usually what it gives you is not a professional, brand messaging, but it's at least something that's like consistent.
Standardized.
It's standardized.
Lemon Seed was born from this. Like literally, like when my brother called me in 2014 to come back to the family company, he was like, I feel like I'm kind of out of control with our message and our brand. And I don't know what to do. And I need somebody to come in here and do this. And that's literally how Lemon Seed was born. Like, I don't do websites and things like that because I know the importance of a consistent message.
Yeah.
And I don't care what vendors you're using. If you're not a good partner to them and you're not focusing on keeping your brand consistent, you're going to naturally be at a disadvantage for performance.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think a lot of contractors know to keep their brand consistent, right? Like your message needs to be consistent. Your brand needs to be consistent.
Yeah.
Like it needs to show up. Like if you're just getting started, that's the easiest way to get into a marketplace is to have a consistent brand. And it's not just in like how you show up, it's the people you hire. It's the way you go out to calls. And if you have someone in your family answering your phone calls for you, it might be time to think about how AI can answer phone calls for you. Now, there are a subset of customers that don't want to deal with AI. There are ways around that, right? You can have an intro message that says, if you don't want to speak to AI, we do have AI to make our time more efficient. But if you don't want to speak to AI, press 2. So it's an IVR of letting them know who they can speak to and they have a choice in the operation.
Yeah. Yes.
That's good.
But again, it's about being as automated and efficient as you can be. And so when you start a company, it's building that technology stack that really helps you make sense that you're going to use right off the bat.
Yes. Yes. And to go back to something, I was sitting on a panel at a manufacturer show, and one of the guys was like, what do y'all think? So mind you, I had met all these contractors, less than $2 million contractors, right? On average. And I was sitting in the room and I thought, man, so many of these guys gave me an email that was like hotdad89 at AOL.com. So I was like, we're not ready for e-commerce. We don't even have an email.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I want to encourage, like everybody that's listening. Like I want to encourage people, like you just have to know where you are in the journey.
Yeah.
So you can even be a large revenue producing company, but not really ready for e-commerce or these AI integrations, even like smart home style stuff. You really need to get your foundational pieces, which would be brand, your online presence, even I consider even like social media. Those things are to me so foundational now. Then you start layering on the cool stuff. But what you do is you set yourself up for failure when you're like, you know what? Let's launch e-commerce where people click and try to buy equipment online. And then let me send a guy that is at a 20% closing rate. Like it's just a recipe for disaster. You're going to waste money. You're going to waste time, and it'll just make you disheartened,
Yeah. And I think like if you're going to implement quick ways to the conversion, right? The conversion needs to happen at the speed of search, and the speed of search is changing because there are multiple searches going on, right? There's LLMs that are developing search models, and then there's Google, which is I'm not going to bore you, but basically, like, it's speed to lead. And when you think about that, when someone clicks, that's a conversion. That means like it's going to either go to your call center or they're going to click to take an action, right? And that click, like, it matters so greatly that you train your operational side of what that means. So if they're calling to get a person on the phone, then you're going to train a CSR how to do that. If they are clicking to make a purchase online, you are going to train that technician on how to install it and to get out into the home and to keep that conversion alive.
Yes.
So yes, e-commerce maybe not be something that you implement without the training and the system and
Correct.
process
A,
behind it.
a preparation of some
Right,
sort.
right.
You know, because I have several contractors that are using like contractor commerce. They're using people like that
Yeah.
to sell their memberships and just make it a little easier of a transaction. So I do think the customer experience, the customer journey with our companies
Yeah.
is very important, that we're not really paying a lot of attention to. So using an AI tool for booking, online scheduling programs, and things like that, I think really are going to be really important next year. They're already important.
They're already important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for those of you that haven't launched some of those things, I definitely think there's a good opportunity there. So, you know, the other thing that I wanted to chat with you guys about is the local side of things. Y'all know that's like where my heart is in like boots on the ground guerrilla style marketing. Just like really like pounding the streets basically, and working with nonprofits and working with chamber of commerces and things like that. Shaking hands and kissing babies is what I call it. And how important that's going to be, because I think that naturally people are going to start considering all of those thoughts, right? Like all of those interactions. I didn't know what you guys thought about that. Do you feel like that's going to be a trend coming back?
Oh,
It's crazy that it's even considered a trend.
I know.
It should be like a baseline requirement to running a business, in my opinion.
Business 101.
Yeah.
Join the Chamber of Commerce.
It's
now,
crazy.
You may not get everything out of it.
It's crazy. And like, this is coming from the digital guy. Like, it's crazy that people over pivoted so hard to digital marketing that by joining the Chamber of Commerce and hosting a community event, you're seen as a disruptor.
Yes,
It blows my mind.
Yes, yes.
Like, we see folks like Stephanie and David Postel crushing it with their community marketing. Everyone's like, oh my God, they are something else. Like, they're crushing. And it's like, guys, what they're doing, everyone should be doing.
Yes. I mean, in 2014, and I know I keep going back to this, I'm like an old person, like back in my day, but in 2014, what I did is I knew that there was no home service company, much less a heating and air conditioning company. And I just like literally started being active.
Yeah.
I literally took the brand and I put it in front of people, whether they liked it or not.
Yeah.
I just said, hey, here we are. And we were sponsoring all kinds of things because all I wanted to do was shake hands and kiss babies all the time. Because top of mind awareness is how you win that long-term game.
Yeah.
So there are short wins, which is where I think the digital piece came in, is everybody started on this like, oh, you need speed to lead, you need leads. And people got desperate.
Yeah.
And so they just were like, okay, and they didn't have the time, energy, or finances to support anything other than digital. So then what happened when their search volume dropped? Everybody was like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do.
And it got like uber competitive too. Like, it was at first digital marketing was like, this is half the cost of traditional advertising. And there's so much more opportunity out there. Like when Facebook ads first started, I mean, you could go on Facebook ads and you could boost a post for $50 and make $100,000 off of it. And
people still think that works like that.
Yeah. Well, naturally, it just got oversaturated, and everyone just pivoted so hard from traditional advertising and brand marketing to performance marketing, digital advertising, stuff like that. And
I just go back to, I use this analogy too all the time, like making a cake. So my husband makes a delicious 7-Up cake that his grandma taught him to make. His aunt makes it, and this cake it's phenomenal. But you know what it's made of? Basic stuff. There's no like fancy ganache shot. It is flour, sugar, butter, and really it's all in the baking and all of that. And so I use that all the time. Like if you were to say, give me a piece of cake, I'm not going to hand you a scoop of flour. the cake that you want is a combination
Oh
of
yeah.
the vanilla, the egg, the flour, the milk, all of it, and the 7-Up in his case. And it's a
Yeah.
combination of all the ingredients at the right time, baking at the right temperature that
That-
make that cake good.
That's the thing. Also, is like the time and the temperature. So many business owners, they'll get all the ingredients, and then they'll, instead of putting it in the oven at 350 for 15 minutes, they try to put it in the oven at 1400 degrees for 1 minute,
Yes,
and they're like, "Why does my cake burn?
correct.
Why didn't it cook?"
I slid it past the oven. Why did
Yeah.
it not bake?
I thought this would be quicker. If I tripled the temperature and I could decrease the time, it would be quicker, but then it gets burnt.
Yes, and I think a lot of you, Sarah's done this before, you've seen this before. It really is it's a balancing act. Like when you look at your marketing team, it is people that are trying to like, how do I shift? Where do I shift so that I stay balanced?
Yeah.
Marketing is not. I can just. I'm like Sarah. I'm fixing to get shirts made. Marketing is always evolving, and so it's a game. You
Yeah.
literally have to play the game. Sometimes you really win. Sometimes you're like stuck in a rut, but you just have to keep trying and keep being motivated. But it is a balance of brand, call to action, and existing customer cultivation. And I just think we're missing it. So, last little thing. So, on this whole smart AC, nuevo stuff that we're seeing,
Right.
what do we think is the best way to approach marketing that? And we talked about this a little bit on y'all's podcast, but I love what you said about the influencer marketing piece. Like, I thought we had a good conversation around that. And I think that's great. What do you think how do you think homeowners are going to respond to that new, like, y'all are in my business, big brother drama?
Yeah. I mean, like, I think as time goes on, we're always in the homeowner's business, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
predictive maintenance. We want to monitor the whole home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a win for us as contractors because it's data collection,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And the more data we collect, the more personalized of an experience the customer can have.
Mm.
So we can say, hey, Eric, your HVAC system is just running out of control.
Right.
Like there's something going on. Let us come out there and check out what's going on. Maybe we need to add a capacitor, like whatever.
Yeah.
But like customers want that. We just have to teach them what they want.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Correct. We
Because
have to educate them.
We have to educate them. We have
Yes.
to provide value with what we're selling. And we're like,
Yes.
hey, we're not here to look inside your home. We're not here to do that. We're here to provide safety and security for your loved ones.
Well, and now, used to people were home
Yeah.
more, right? They were home more. That's what
Right.
happened during COVID, right?
That's so
Everybody
true.
went home.
Yep.
So then they were like, wait a minute, it's hot over here and cool over there. Like, we got
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
But now people are back out more.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, like, I travel a lot. My kids are always gone. So knowing that someone was watching, like, hey girl, like your unit's running. I find some peace in that. I think the older demographic, we need to work a little harder to educate them. Like,
But
would
they're
you
not gonna
like
be
to know?
purchasing
Or
anymore.
think about like the widows, right?
Yeah.
People that don't have a trusted, maybe their kids don't live near them, and so they
Yeah.
don't know what's going. There's so many facets, like ways that we could go after that. That I definitely think it's more about educating the homeowner. Like, you don't even know you need this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They don't know what they don't know.
Right.
But they do. Like, I live in East Texas, and so a lot of times people are like, that's Big Brother. I don't want people listening to me. I'm like, people are listening to you whether you like it or
They're
not.
listening
Yeah,
to you
they've
on your
been
phone
listening to
because you
you.
forgot to opt out.
Yeah.
You didn't
Like,
even know that there was an opt out.
yes. We are seeing everything you
Right.
do.
Everyone blindly accepted to the terms and conditions of all these
Everything.
softwares
Yeah.
and websites and stuff for 2 decades, and then suddenly we're like, hey, where's
Mind
that
your
data?
business.
Where's that data going?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
How does ChatGPT know the latitude and longitude of my home?
Yes.
I wonder why.
Well, I know and it is a little eerie, to people, but I definitely think going into 2025, it's going to be important to be cognizant, working with your digital provider. Like, are you helping me be ready to voice for search?
Yeah.
Am I getting there? Contractor, you don't have to know it.
Yeah.
You got to have a trusted partner that you know. But also, like, get involved in your communities.
Mhm.
Start doing local things, even if it's once a month. You just intentionally do something and then talk about it a little bit. Just tell
Yeah.
somebody about it. And then on these new innovative things that you feel like are coming out that might be a little like they make your head spin, I'm like, Sarah, like, just start educating people on what they are. And maybe like you put one in your own home, put one in your parents' home, things like that. That's who your influencers will be, your own technicians,
Yes.
your
Yeah.
own team.
Yeah.
Right. So, last question that I like to ask everyone: if you had to give a brand new contractor one piece of advice for marketing, and they're probably going to be totally different, what would your piece of advice? Brand new contract, like I'm getting started. What should I do for marketing? Eric, you go first.
Brand new. Brand new.
Yes, like I just started. I'm ready to go.
Invest day one in a good brand, even if that means taking out a line of credit. So
Tell the truth. I paid him to say that, but thank you.
I'm dead serious. You can worry about the website later. Make it on Wix at first. You can get a nice website in 3 years from now, but
It's that big of a game changer.
buy nice or buy twice is the way to say it. And or buy once, cry once. You know, there's all the different sayings, but you'll end up, and I'm only saying this because I made this mistake as well. And hundreds and thousands of contractors have made this mistake is they get started real quick. I need a logo. Next thing you know, I need a van. Next thing you know, I need to get a second van. Next thing you know, I need a third van and some uniforms and a CSR. And they're all wearing this logo and all the different icky iterations of the logo. And
Icky.
and then suddenly you're at 5 trucks, $1.5 million, 2 million. You're just like, maybe my brand now isn't what I need it to be. And then you invest then. And well, now there's so much more considerations. You're rewrapping trucks.
Or changing your name.
You're changing your name, which requires then an SEO company to fix the SEO, 3 years or however long of SEO you've had going. In some instances, 20 plus years for these contractors. You have to get a new website at that point. You have to get a new domain name. You have to change all your online listings. It's messy, super messy when you're 5, 10, 15 years down the road to undo all that.
Absolutely.
So I would just say from day one, hire a professional branding agency to help you come up with a name, a tagline, a logo, the colors,
van wraps,
all of it. Even if you don't need the van wrap, get the van wrap designed for something.
And just your brand story. Like, what is your story? Like, don't take a brand off of a shelf. Like, get a custom brand that says who you are, who you want to be.
Yeah. Well,
love that.
We made this mistake, when we started Rival, we started it and then it was like 3 days before our first day in business, we made a logo on Canva. And it was like a Spartan helmet, and it said Rival Digital, and it was like orange and black. And it wasn't until like a year and a half down the road, I was like, wow, CEO Warrior has the same colors along with the Spartan helmet. So people got us confused with CEO Warrior. We had the same colors as Rhino at the time, so people got us confused with Rhino. So we were non-existent to the where we just had it was just Eric.
Yes.
It was Eric, and then he had this logo that looked like 2 different companies.
Yeah.
And so, 2.5 years into it, we had to do I was like, we need to refresh our logo so we can try to stand out. Luckily, we didn't change the name, but we changed the logo and the colors, and that required a huge overhaul just online. All of our booth, all of our print materials, all of our swag, everything had to get dumped. And I didn't dump it out, I donated it. But we had to get everything remade and redone. And it was a lot more work than it should have been had we just hired a branding agency up front to make us a proper, brand identity.
I love it. I couldn't agree more. So, Sarah?
It's because she's a branding company.
Absolutely.
You don't have to have LLC in your name.
Amen. That's it. That's your token right there.
Token I'm just leaving it at that for small businesses.
I mean, that is true. This is
so
what
funny.
I hear from them. That is true. I hear this all the time. They'll come to me and their name will be like last name mechanical.
Yes.
And I'm like, LLC. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, mechanical. So you work on all kinds of machinery? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, that's what this says.
Right. So that's the other thing. That's the other thing. When you're naming yourself, it's a keyword search, right? So no matter what you're naming yourself, we are the trademark. Okay. That is a hard trademark search to do. And we spelled it with an E. Okay, wow, we are different. But it's a different search. We could have done a little bit better about what we're doing.
We could have taken the advice that I just ranted about.
Yeah, but it is a cool name. It's just we have work to do.
Yeah.
But we wanted to get out quick and scale. Well, just like any small business, they want to get out quick and scale. And they're like, look, we have this skill. So you can't say, hey, don't be who you are right now because they're taking action and they're starting.
Yeah.
But, you know, having a good brand starting out is the way to go.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And to drop your LLC and to, you know,
Yeah,
Look,
I
and don't name
totally,
yourself
I
like that.
totally respect the ready, fire, aim approach
I
of
do
like
too,
young,
yeah.
scrappy startup companies for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it cracks me up about the LLC thing because it's like, I don't know. I think for some like small business owners, like that's a flex.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like
they're like, I'm registered.
Thomas Mechanical LLC. Like,
And stop using mechanical.
I know. I'm like, it's
I don't
terrible.
know what it is.
Me neither. I'm like, homeowners don't get it.
And HVAC,
Yeah.
like, I mean, some people know what that is. Roofing, that's I know that's
Yeah,
a roof.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Pest
would-
control, things like that are a
Yeah.
little different. So,
yeah, I mean, we could.
all
We could
right.
go on
Yeah, we'll
forever.
stop.
We,
I'll
this
stop on this
group, this
tangent.
group would have like a 4-part series.
I was about to go into
but-
ranking factors for Google Business Profile. I'll stop there. We'll come back for part 2 one day.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for watching and listening to another episode of From the Yellow Chair. We would love a review, a share, something. Hook us up. But thank you for sipping lemonade with us all the way from Marco Island. Have a great day.